Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our evening Shabbat class to close out the Shabbat, the 19th of August, 2023. I'll be dealing with in the book of Enoch, specifically with chapter 92. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. We have a lot of videos and a lot of information. And these videos will connect dots for you and lead you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And for those who feel the need to support the channel, you can look at our cash app on the bottom of the screen. This is the non-Messianic channel. And by that I mean we deal with the Old Testament, which is the Tanakh, and the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Old Testament, the books of the law that was given to Moses. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our evening Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, Sabbath prayer, Psalms, do some current events, little need to know information. Then we'll go into some Q&A. Then we'll go into our discussion, which is out of the book of Enoch. Okay? It's a moment of silence for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we come before thee at the closing of your Shabbat, thanking you for your mercy and your great power. We appreciate you, O Lord, for your patience and guidance in these last days. Oh Lord, we thank you for your awakening of us to this great understanding of your word. And we come before you that you keep and direct and guide us through the upcoming week. For in this cause, we honor and respect you greatly. Turn not thy face from us, but allow us in our searching of you to find you, O Lord, and to dwell with you. Peace be unto you. Okay. We read the Psalms. Okay. Okay, I'm going to read Psalms 30. Okay, it's a thanksgiving for deliverance from death. It's a psalm of David. I will extol thee, O Lord, for thou hast lifted me up, and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me. O Lord my God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought me up, brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down into the pit. Sing unto the Lord, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness. For his anger endureth but a moment, in his favor is life. Weeping and may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved. Lord, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide my face, and I was troubled. I cried to thee, O Lord, and unto the Lord I made my supplication. What profit is there in my blood when I go down into the pit? Shall the dust praise thee? Shall it declare thy truth? Hear, O Lord, and have mercy upon me. Lord, be thou my helper. Thou hast turned for me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, to the end that my glory may sing praises to thee and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give thanks unto thee forever. Okay, that was Psalms 30. Okay, anybody have any comments on that? Okay, like I was talking about, I keep bringing this up over and over again. It says, verse 3, O Lord, thou hast brought my soul, the soul, spirit, from my grave, from out of the body, and thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down into the pit. So, like I said, you got people that didn't come from him. So, like, for example, the giants and other spirits, when they pass away, they don't ascend, they descend. So he's saying that the God that he worshiped, take his soul and it keeps him alive. It's, takes it up to heaven where it's preserved with his forefathers. He keeps it alive. It's God of life. Okay. So with that being said, I'll go to some current events. Nobody have no question or comment. Okay.
To discuss preparations for a possible military intervention to restore democracy in Niger following the coup in July. The meeting of the Economic Community of West African States, otherwise known as ECOWAS, in Ghana comes after failed attempts to restore deposed President Mohamed Bazoum to power. 3 ECOWAS members currently under military rule themselves, that is Mali, Burkina Faso and Guinea, support the junta. Well, live now to Lagos, and we're going to speak to our West African correspondent, Mayeni Jones. Hello to you, Mayeni. So we've got a meeting taking place later today. There was a meeting of the AU on Monday. It seems that the two organisations may not be meeting in the middle on this.
Yes, ECOWAS seems to be mostly in support of military intervention, whereas the African Union has come out against it. So it's not clear what that will mean in terms of whether intervention will actually happen. But I think it's fair to say that ECOWAS is certainly keen to send the message that they're ready for an intervention if need be. They went from last week saying that a standby force would be put in place, but without giving much details, to now putting a meeting in place with defense chiefs in Accra today and tomorrow to talk about the practicalities of this intervention, how many troops each country can contribute, because ECOWAS doesn't have a central troop, so each member state has to contribute some troops, to talk about resources, to talk about some sort of framework that these troops can operate under. And I think they want to send the message to the junta in Niger that they're ready to intervene if need be, that they will do good on their threat.
Meanwhile, the US ambassador to Niger is due in the country. I'm not sure if she's arrived. Hopefully you can confirm that for us. Her name is Kathleen Fitzgibbon. Any indication that she would be producing her credentials to the coup leaders?
So we don't have details as to when she's going to arrive. All that's been said is that she's coming later this week, so it could be any day now. And I think it's part of an acknowledgement by the US that they've been a bit on the back foot in the situation. They haven't had any kind of diplomatic presence on the ground. They're hoping that she's able to remedy this once she comes. But as you mentioned in your question, it's a tricky situation for the US. They haven't officially recognized the situation in Niger as a coup, but she obviously will not be able to present her credentials to President Bazoum, who's still under home arrest by the junta leaders. So it puts the US in a very tricky situation. If they officially acknowledge a coup legally, it means things like aid or some of the military support that it offers Niger may have to be halted. And we've seen in other countries, like in Egypt, for example, they haven't used the word coup in the past to talk about things that other countries have acknowledged the word coups. So I think the ambassador coming later this week and how she kind of navigates the coming days will give a stronger indication as to how the US plans to deal with Niger and the government there moving forward.
Mayeni, and meanwhile, the pressure is growing, isn't it? There's a looming humanitarian crisis, according to the UN, as well as the 3 million, a further 7 million now at risk of food insecurity. And that security that the coup leaders said was one of the reasons they took power in terms of Islamist attacks. 17 soldiers now attacked. So things are not going well.
No, and I think if we look at the precedents in neighboring countries like Mali and Burkina Faso, where there have been coups, we've seen an escalation in violence there. We've seen increased attacks by Islamist insurgents that take advantage of the power vacuum, of the lack of support from Western nations. to gain more ground and to carry out more attacks on civilian populations. So this is why the international community is concerned for Niger. They don't want to see a repeat of the escalation of violence there. But at the moment, a diplomatic solution seems very few on the ground. ECOWAS and ECOWAS leader told the BBC's House of Service yesterday that they are struggling to speak to the junta. So it will be interesting to see whether this lack of communication leads to this dreaded military intervention, which many analysts say could have devastating consequences for an already very fragile region.
Okay, so that was earlier in the week. This was going on today.
The West African regional bloc, ECOWAS, says it's ready to send troops into Niger if the military junta doesn't restore the toppled president. The bloc's defense chiefs have been meeting for the past 2 days. Niger has been in crisis since the democratically elected government was overthrown on July 26th.
West African defense chiefs are talking tough to make Niger's generals back down, repeating their threat to send soldiers into fellow ECOWAS member state Niger to return its democratically elected president to power. As members of the regional bloc wrapped up a meeting in Ghana, they said they have equipment, a strategy, and even a date when troops could move in.
We are ready to go anytime the order is given. The D-Day is also decided.
But they want to give diplomacy more chances.
There is the possibility of an ECOWAS mission going into Niger to continue to pursue the peaceful path, to restoration of constitutional order. So I don't think we must focus on the military aspect. We are ready to resolve it peacefully, but it takes two to tango.
Neither sanctions nor international condemnation have persuaded Niger's new leader, General Abdurrahman Chiani, to free the president. The coup leaders have been accused of intimidating critics and paying people to publicly show their support for the junta. On the streets of the capital, Niamey, it's not clear how much ordinary Nigerians support the military junta, but the prospect of soldiers from neighboring African states intervening in their country is worrying some.
ECOWAS can come here if they want. We are waiting for them. They will get what's coming to them. They will have to go over dead bodies to get to the coup leaders.
Though ECOWAS's diplomatic efforts have had little effect so far, another round of talks are planned for the weekend.
DW correspondent Olisa Chukuma is in neighboring Nigeria. Olisa, ECOWAS says it's ready. What can we expect?
Well, Ben, what we can expect following this latest comments from the Joint Chiefs of ECOWAS yesterday in Accra after the two-day meet is that there will be heightened tensions in the region. They talk about a D-Day being set already for military intervention. Clearly heightens the tensions all around West Africa and the Sahel right now, because it does seem that ECOWAS is not taking up the option of military intervention, despite saying that they will be open to negotiations, and also despite saying that they will not continue to engage in endless talks. So it's a bit of a heightened one coming from ECOWAS following this two-day meeting from the Joint Chiefs, which means a military intervention is clearly not taken off, it's on the table, and they have a D-Day.
So tell me, is the military junta still willing to engage in dialogue?
Well, that is what we're waiting for. If there will be a response following these latest developments in the ECOWAS meeting of Joint Chiefs in Accra, if the junta in Niger will respond. They have been digging their heels. So far, negotiations between all the factions have failed. But we also have to take into context about the larger African context in terms of the African Union. We're yet to hear from the African Union. Now, they had a summit earlier this week on Monday about the situation in Niger, but are yet to come out with a statement. Now, ECOWAS have concluded their military option plans. They have it on their cards. They also have open negotiation talks, which is still open. But would the AU support the military intervention for ECOWAS in Niger? Now, that is the big question now everyone is waiting for, because should they reject this option from ECOWAS, it might be political isolation from ECOWAS, because not everyone is in support of military intervention, especially within the countries like Nigeria and other parliaments. So they don't seem really enthusiastic that this might be the last option. They want dialogue and more dialogue to resolve the situation in Niger.
And Elisa, how do you think ECOWAS troops would be received by the people of Niger?
Well, Ben, not very well at all. As we speak, there are talks about volunteer recruitment forces, civilians to join volunteer groups to defend Niger. They call it the volunteer force for the defense of the country. So many of them will be starting today in places that borders Nigeria and Benin. So people are clearly supporting the Nigerian military junta, and they don't want foreign troops on Nigerian soil. So it's not going to be well received in Niger. Don't forget, they're already receiving harsh sanctions from ECOWAS, electricity cut from Nigeria, border shut, goods and services and shut, airspace closed. To add truth to that, nobody in Niger will be happy about this at all, Ben.
You know.
Okay, any comments on that? Anybody else have any information about it? Okay, so here goes some information about what's coming up this week. Came into the BRICS Summit.
Week on the agenda, new members, new governance, even a new currency. We'll consider what's set to dominate discussion at the 15th Annual BRICS Summit. Next week in Johannesburg, world leaders will gather for the 15th Annual BRICS Summit. The name of the group, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and now South Africa, was first coined in 2001 by economist Jim O'Neill. We'll hear from him later in the programme. But first, let's get some context about this year's meeting and what's on the agenda. I'm joined now by Ben Joubert, South Africa's Sous Sherpa for BRICS. What's the big goal for the BRICS Summit taking place in South Africa?
The big goal for us is, of course, to have a summit to ensure that there's sufficient and significant interaction between the leaders of BRICS, and that the outcomes reflect what we originally committed to in BRICS. And that is basically that we will ensure that there's a global south that is duly included in the entire systems of the globe or of the world. So the goal for us is to have a summit where we can agree on a significant declaration. It will be called the Igoli Declaration, Igoli in our local language, meaning place of gold. So the focus there is that we reach consensus on those issues that we have discussed in several tracks throughout the year.
So there's a lot on the agenda. This is an ambitious summit. Now, Russia's President Putin isn't going to be attending the BRICS in person. What impact might that have on the decision-making process?
Well, it will have no impact. I think, if I can consciously use the term, I think it was a very mature decision of the president of Russia not to join the summit, given the issues at stake. But he is in all the summit elements. He will be joining virtually, and He is also represented in person by Foreign Minister Lavrov, and as we know, Lavrov is no stranger to these meetings, these high-level events where he stands in for his president. So we are convinced that summit will proceed without a material impact. Of course, the ideal is for our host, our president, to have all leaders in person, but the outcomes are based on consensus, and as I mentioned, President Putin will be part of that consensus.
You talk about consensus. Now, in the past, there have been some quite broad agreements, but the specifics have maybe been lacking. I mean, is it that security issues are always a bit of a sticking point, or is it something else holding the BRICS back from making meaningful change?
What is the real story of January 6th? Many people have asked that question.
Take into account and keep in mind that BRICS is a formation of the global south. We have, we do not have a specific infrastructure in terms of the running of BRICS. Every year is a different chair, and those issues that are at stake are agreed to on consensus. Consensus means that everyone in the room will have to agree on those. So broad agreement at the moment is what we want to achieve. Specifics, I'm sure, as BRICS mature, that will come. Just like we are, like any other organization, in a phase of organic growth. So that is also why expansion or enlargement, we call it institutional development, those are the issues that are discussed between the leaders and on all the other different tracks, the foreign ministers, as we move to a more structured, a more specific outcomes-based formation of the global south. So yes, that is the nature of our agreements at the moment, but going forward, we might have a more specific outcomes. And you are quite correct. We need to take into account those dynamics in the room. This is a diverse group of the global south, and there are specific issues at play. Regardless of that, I think the outcomes that we have achieved and the fact that we have a summit this year and that solidarity in the group is intact is all those are significant matters to acknowledge.
You talk about expansion and why others might want in to the BRICS. So who are we talking about as potential new BRICS members, and how might they change the dynamics of the group?
Well, the dynamics of the group is typical of the global south. You know, it is a formation of those emerging prominent major economies. I know that there are at least 22, 23 countries expressing an interest in joining BRICS, and this is evident, or perhaps a sign of a reward in the sense that BRICS has stayed quite true to its original values and undertaking of ensuring that the global south is included in the world systems. So
okay, so this week, like I said, they'll be having the BRICS summit, so you'll see a lot of buzz around this and a lot of stuff going to come out of this. Anybody have any comments on it? Okay, we'll open it up for some questions and comments. It's about something you want to talk about, something you want to bring to the table. If not, we'll go into the book of Enoch, read out of that. Anybody have any comments? Okay, more comments? like I said, I go and read out of the book of Enoch, and I'm in chapter 92. Okay, so it's actually, the book of Enoch is divided up in different sections. This is section 5, and it's the book of exaltations and the promise of blessings for the righteous. And we kind of dealt with that this morning, is the ones that kept the law, died keeping the law, died loving the Most High. So we're in chapter 92. It says, the book written by Enoch. Enoch indeed wrote this complete doctrine of wisdom, which is praised of all men and a judge of all the earth for all my children who shall dwell on the earth, and for the future generations who shall observe uprightness and peace. Let not your spirit be troubled on account of the times, for the Holy and Great One has appointed days for all things, and the righteous one shall arise from sleep. He shall arise and walk in the paths of righteousness, and all his paths and conversations shall be in eternal goodness and grace. He will be gracious to the righteous and give him eternal uprightness, and he will give him power, so that he shall be endowed with goodness and righteousness, and he shall walk in eternal light, and sin shall perish in darkness forever, and shall no more be seen from that day forevermore. Okay, what's going on? Okay, then it says this is 91. For some reason we're going backwards. And now my son Methuselah called to me all my brothers, and gathered together to me all the sons of thy mother. For the word calls me, and the Spirit is poured out upon me, that I may show you everything that shall befall you forever. And thereupon Methuselah went, and thereupon Methuselah went and summoned to him all his brothers and assembled his relatives. And he spake unto all the children of the righteous and said, Hear ye sons of Enoch, all the words of your father, and hearken, arise to the voice of my mouth. For I exalt you and say unto you, beloved, love uprightness and walk therein, and draw not nigh to uprightness with a double heart, and associate not with those of double hearts, but walk in righteousness, my sons, and it shall guide you on good paths, and righteousness shall be your companion. For I know that violence must increase on the earth, and a great chastisement be executed on the earth. Okay? And all unrighteousness comes to an end. Yea, it shall be cut off from the roots. And its whole structure be destroyed, and unrighteousness shall again be consummated on the earth. So we see right here, like I said, there's nothing new under the sun. This beast system, that's what it is. The beast system that is in place today is going to go away. It's going to get rooted out from its root, just like it did before the flood. Wickedness had increased to the point where it was only Noah and Shem that was left from Adam. So he had to bring the flood, and the flood rooted out all wickedness, started back over. So we see the same thing getting ready to happen again. He says, and the whole structure shall be destroyed. So the whole system, beast system, and unrighteousness shall again be consumed, again be consummated on the earth, right? And all deeds of unrighteousness and of violence and transgression shall prevail in a twofold degree. And when sin and unrighteousness and blasphemy and violence and all kinds of deeds increase, and apostasy and transgression and uncleanness increase, a great chastisement shall come from heaven upon all these. And the Holy Lord will come forth with wrath and chastisement to execute judgment on the earth. In those days, violence shall be cut off from its root, and the root of unrighteousness together with deceit, and they shall be destroyed from under heaven, and all the idols of the heathen shall be abandoned. So I want to deal with this right here right quick to get a better understanding of it. When he says that in 32, in those days, violence shall be cut off from its roots. So he's saying that for a reason. So if you go back to the judgments that he gave Israel through Moses in the Torah, that's the objective for those judgments. Like he said, if you two men is in the camp laying with each other, obviously something wrong with them. They're homosexuals or whatever. You have to take them outside of the city or the camp or wherever. Take them outside there and kill them, more or less, stone them to death and burn them. So what is that? That's getting it out from the root. And so, like I said, we see now those judgments they've been flipped on their head. We see they're doing just the opposite. Now instead of judging that, they gave them rights. So look what happened. The rooster took it took root. It wasn't destroyed from the root. It took root. And look at what we got now going on. From one city to the next, from one nation to the next, all because of that judgment wasn't implemented. It says in verse 30, a holy Lord will come forth with his wrath and chastisement to execute judgment on earth, to increase days of violence shall be cut off from its root, and the roots of unrighteousness together with deceit, and they shall be destroyed from under heaven. And all the idols of the heathen shall be abandoned, and the temples burned with fire, and they shall remove them from the whole earth. So when they come back, they're going to do it. They're going to get rid of it from the root. They're not going to play with it. It says, and the heathen shall be cast into the judgment of fire, and shall perish in the wrath and in grievous judgment forever. And the righteous shall arise from their sleep. Ezekiel 37. And wisdom shall arise and be given unto them. And after that, the roots of unrighteousness shall be cut off, and the sinners shall be destroyed by the sword, shall be cut off from the blasphemy in every place. And those who plan violence and those who commit blasphemy shall perish by the sword. And now I will tell you, my sons, and show you the path of righteousness and the path of violence. Yea, I will show them to you again, that ye may know what will come to pass. And now hearken unto me, my sons, and walk in the paths of righteousness, and walk not in the paths of violence. For all who walk in the paths of unrighteousness shall perish forever. So that was Enoch chapter 91. I'm in Enoch 93. And after that, Enoch both gave and began to recount from the books. And Enoch said, concerning the children of righteousness, and concerning the elect of the world, and concerning the plant of uprightness, I will speak these things. Yea, I, Enoch, will declare them unto you, my sons, according to that which appeared to me in the heavenly vision, and which I have known through the words of the holy angels. That's what I was talking about this morning. The holy angels, the seven, the holy angels. So I have learned from the heavenly tablets. And Enoch began to recount from the books and said, I was born the seventh in the first week, while judgment and righteousness subtly endured. And after me there shall arise in the second week great wickedness, and deceit shall have sprung up, and in it there shall be the first end, and in a man shall be saved, and after it is ended, unrighteousness shall grow up, and a law shall be made for the sinner. And after that, in the third week, as it closed, a man shall be elected as a plant of righteous judgment, and his prosperity shall become a plant of righteousness forevermore. And after that, in the fourth week, At its close, visions of holy and righteous shall be seen, and a law for all generations and enclosures shall be made for them. And after that, in the 5th week, at its close, the house of glory and dominion shall be built forever. And after that, in the 6th week, all who live in it shall be blinded, and the hearts of all them shall godlessly forsake wisdom. And in it a man shall ascend, and in it and at its close the house of dominion shall be burnt with fire, and the whole race of the chosen root shall be dispersed. And after that, in the 7th week, shall an apostate generation arise, and then it shall be its deeds, and all its deeds shall be apostate, and as it close shall be elect, and at its close shall be elected the elect righteous of the eternal plan of righteousness, to receive sevenfold instructions concerning all his creation. For who is there of all his children of man that is able to hear the voice of the Holy One without being troubled? And who can think his thoughts? And who is there that can behold all the works of heaven? And how should there be one who could behold the heavens? And who is there that could understand the things of heaven, and see a soul or a spirit, and could tell thereof, or ascend and see all their ends, and think them or do like them? And who is there of all men that could know what is the breadth and the length of the earth, and of to whom has been shown the measure of all of them? Or is there anyone who could discern the length of heaven, and how great is its height, and upon what is it founded, and how great is the number of stars, and where are all the luminaries rest? Okay. And after that, there shall be another in the 8th week, that of righteousness, and a sword shall be given to it, that a righteous judgment may be executed on the oppressors, and sinners shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous. And at its close, they shall acquire houses through their righteousness, and a house shall be built for the great King in glory forevermore. And all mankind shall look to the path of uprightness. And after that, in the 9th week, the righteous judgment shall be revealed to the whole world, and all the works of godliness shall vanish from all the earth, and the world shall be written down for destruction. And after this, in the 10th week, in the 7th part, there shall be a great eternal judgment, in which he will execute vengeance among the angels. And the first heaven shall depart and pass away, and the new heaven shall appear, and all the powers of heaven shall give sevenfold light. And after that, there shall be many weeks without number forever, and all shall be in goodness and in righteousness, and sin shall no more be mentioned forever. And now, it's 94, and now I say unto you, my sons, love righteousness and walk therein, for the path of righteousness are worthy and acceptation. But the path of unrighteousness shall suddenly be destroyed and vanish, and a certain man of a generation shall the path of violence and death be revealed, and they shall hold themselves afar from them, and shall not follow them. And now I say unto you, the righteous, walk not in the path of wickedness, nor in the path of death, and draw not nigh to them, lest ye be destroyed. Okay? But seek and choose for yourself righteousness and elect life, and walk in the paths of peace, and ye shall live and prosper, and hold fast my words in the thoughts of your hearts, and suffer them not to be affected from your hearts. I know that sinners will attempt men to evilly entreat wisdom, so that no place may be found for her, and no manner of temptation may menace. Woe to those who build unrighteous and oppression, and lay deceit as a foundation, for they shall be suddenly overthrown, and they shall have no peace. So right here, this is where they get the woes in the New Testament. They're getting it from right here. This is what Enoch. You got JC. They duplicate Enoch. You know, they putting these words in JC mouth. It says, Woe to those who build unrighteousness and oppression, and lay deceit as a foundation, for they shall suddenly be overthrown, and they shall have no peace. Woe to those who build their houses with sin, for from all their foundations shall they be overthrown, and by words shall they fall. And those who acquire gold and silver in judgment suddenly shall perish. Woe to you, ye rich, for ye have trusted in your riches, and from your riches shall ye depart, because ye have not remembered the Most High in the days of your riches. Ye have committed blasphemy and unrighteousness, and have become ready for the day of slaughter, and the day of darkness, and the day of the great judgment. Thus I speak and declare unto you, he who hath created you will overthrow you, and for your fall there shall be no compassion, and for your Creator will rejoice at your destruction. And your righteous ones in those days shall be an approach to the sinners and the godless. Okay, 95. Oh, that my eyes were a cloud of water, that I might weep over you. See this? See this? You see the wording? They put all this in JC mouth. Oh, that mine eyes were a cloud of water, that I may weep over you, and pour down my tears as a cloud of water, that so I might rest from your troubled heart. Who has permitted you to practice reproaches and wickedness, and so judgment shall overtake you, sinners. Fear not the sinner, ye righteous, for again will the Lord deliver them into your hands, that ye may execute judgment upon them according to your desires. Woe to you who formulate, I don't know the word, which cannot be reversed. Healing shall therefore be far from you because of your sins. And woe to you who requite your neighbor with evil, for ye shall be requited according to your works. And woe to you, lying witnesses, and to those who weigh out injustice, for suddenly shall ye perish. Woe to you, sinners, for ye persecute the righteous, for ye shall be delivered up and persecuted because of injustice, and heavy shall its yoke be upon you. Okay, that was 95. I'm on 96. Be hopeful, be righteous, for suddenly shall the sinners perish before you, and ye shall have lordship over them according to your desire. And in the day of tribulation of sinners, the children shall mount up and rise as eagles, and higher than the vultures will be your nest. And ye shall ascend and enter the crevices of the earth, and the clefts of the rocks forever, as carnivores before the unrighteous. And the sirens shall sigh because of you and weep. Wherefore fear not, ye that have suffered, for healing shall be your portion, and a bright light shall enlighten you. And the voice of rest ye shall hear from heaven. Woe unto you, ye sinners, for your riches make you appear like righteous, but your hearts convict you of being sinners. And this fact shall be a testimony against you for a memorial of your evil deeds. And woe to you who devour the finest of wheat, and drink wine in large bowls, and tread underfoot the lowly with your might. Woe to you who drink water from every fountain, for suddenly shall ye be consumed and wither away, because ye have forsaken the fountain of life. And woe to you who work unrighteousness and deceit and blasphemy, it shall be a memorial against you for evil. And woe to you, ye mighty, who with might oppress the righteous, for the day of your destruction is coming. In those days, many and good days shall come to the righteous in the day of your judgment. So what we read right here, just to let you make it plain, is that Enoch is, he ascended. He was taken up, and he was given all this information, wrote these books, and then when he came back, he's telling us, he gathered all his children, all the children of Adam, descendants, and he telling them all this. So like I said, all they did was took this and put it over in a story at JC. Okay? And I'm in 97. Believe ye righteous, that the sinners, it's no different than this right here than when Moses went up for the 40 days and came back down. Then he told him all that's going to happen, all that's going to befall him. Enoch doing the same thing. So believe ye righteous, that the sinners will become ashamed and perish in the day of unrighteousness. Be it known unto you, ye sinners, that the Most High is mindful of your destruction, and the angels of heaven rejoice over your destruction. What will ye do, ye sinners? And whither will ye flee? And whither will ye flee on the day of judgment, when ye hear the voice of the prayer of the righteous? Yea, ye shall flare like unto them, against whom this word shall be a testimony. Ye have been companions of sinners, and in those days the prayer of the righteous shall reach unto the Lord, and for you the days of your judgment shall come, and all the words of your righteousness shall be read out before the great Holy One, and your faces shall be covered with shame, and you will reject every work which is grounded on unrighteousness. Woe to you, ye sinners, who live on the mid-ocean and on the dry land, who remembers is evil against you. Woe to you who acquire silver and gold in unrighteous days. So let me go back. So it says, woe unto you sinners who live on the mid-ocean and on dry land. That's the Gentiles, Genesis chapter 10. Those who go down by the sea. So these Gentiles. Okay, so it says 18, woe to you who acquire silver and gold in unrighteousness, and say, we have become rich with riches and have possession, and have acquired everything we have desired. And now let us do what we propose. And we have gathered silver, and many are the husbandmen in our houses, and our granaries are brim, full as with water. Yea, and like water your lies shall flow away, for your riches shall not abide, but speedily ascend from you. For ye have acquired it all in unrighteousness, and ye shall be given over to a great curse. So that was 97, 98. And now I swear to you, to the wise and to the foolish, for ye shall have manifold experiences on the earth. For ye men shall put on more adornments than a woman, and colored garments more than a virgin, in royalty and in grandeur and in power, and in splendor and in gold and in purple, and in splendor and in the food that shall be poured out as water. Therefore they shall be wanting in doctrine and wisdom, and they shall perish thereby together with their possessions, and with all their glory and their splendor, and in shame and in slaughter and in great destitution. The spirit shall be cast into the furnace of fire. I have sworn unto you, ye sinners, that the mountain has not become a slave, and the hill does not become the handmaiden of a woman. Even so, sin has not been spent upon the earth, but man of himself has created it, and under a great curse shall they fall who commit it. And the barrenness has not been given to the woman, but on account of the deeds of her own hand, she died without children. I have sworn unto you, ye sinners, by the Holy Great One, that all your evil deeds are revealed in the heavens, and that none of your deeds of oppression are covered and hidden. And do not think in your spirit, nor say in your heart that ye do not know, and that ye do not see that every sin and every day recorded in heaven in the presence of the Most High. From henceforth ye know that all your oppression wherewith ye oppress is written down every day until the day of your judgment. Woe to you, ye fools, for through your folly shall ye perish, and ye transgress against the wise, and so good hap shall not be your portion. And now know ye that ye are prepared for the day of destruction. Wherefore do not hope to live, ye sinners, but ye shall depart and die. For ye know no ransom. For ye are prepared for the day of the great judgment, for the day of tribulation and great shame for your spirit. And woe to you, ye obstinate of heart, who work wickedness and eat blood, whence have good things to eat and to drink and to be filled. For all the good things which the Lord, the Most High, has placed in abundance on the earth, therefore ye shall have no peace. Woe to you who love the deeds of unrighteousness, wherefore do ye hope for good house unto yourselves. Know that ye shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous, and they shall cut off your necks and slay you and have no mercy upon you. Woe to you who rejoice in the tribulation of righteous, for no grave shall be dug for you. Woe to you who set at naught the words of the righteous, for ye shall have no hope of life. And woe to you who write down lying and godless words, for they write down their lies that men may hear them and act godlessly toward their neighbor. Therefore, they shall have no peace, but die a sudden death. Okay. Let me see what I'm gonna read. Okay, I'll read 99. It says, woe to you who work godlessness and glory in lying and extol them. Ye shall perish, and no happy life shall be yours. Woe to them who pervert the words of unrighteousness. Okay, that's the New Testament. And transgress the eternal law and transform themselves into what they were not. They were not into sinners. They shall be trodden underfoot upon the earth. In those days, make ready, ye righteous, raise your prayers as a memorial, and place them as a testimony before the angels, that they may place the sin of the sinners for a memorial before the Most High. In those days, the nations shall be stirred up, and the families of the nations shall arrive on the day of destruction. And in those days, the destitute shall go forth and carry off their children, and they shall abandon them, so that their children shall perish through them. Yea, they shall abandon their children that are sucklings, and not return to them, and shall have no pity on their beloved ones. And again I swear to you, ye sinners, that sin is prepared for the day of unceasing bloodshed, and they who worship stones and graven images of gold and silver and wood and stone and clay, and those who worship impure spirits and demons and all kinds of idols not according to the knowledge, shall get no manner of help from them, and they shall become godless by reason of the folly of their hearts, and their eyes shall be blinded through the fear of their hearts, and through visions of their dreams. Through these they shall become godless and fearful, and they shall have wrought all their work in a lie, and shall have worshipped a stone. Therefore in an instant shall they perish. But in those days blessed are all they who accept the words of wisdom and understand them. So we just talked about that this morning. You got a choice, right? Observe the path of the Most High and walk in the path of his righteous, and become not godless with godless, for they shall be saved. Woe to you who spread evil to your neighbor, for you shall be slain in Sheol. Woe to you who make deceitful and false measures, and to them who cause bitterness on the earth, for they shall thereby be utterly consumed. And woe to you who build your houses through the grievous toil of others, and all the building materials are the bricks and stones of sin. I tell you, ye shall have no peace. Woe to them who reject the measure and eternal heritage of their fathers, and whose souls follow after idols, for they shall have no rest. And woe to them who work unrighteousness and help oppression, and slay their neighbors until the day of the great judgment. For he shall cast down your glory and bring affliction on your hearts, and shall arouse his fierce indignation and destroy you all with the sword, and all the holy righteous shall remember your sins. Okay, so I was reading out of the book of Enoch, and I was reading pretty much the woes that Enoch was given to his to the descendants of Adam once he came back from once he ascended into heaven and received the books and the knowledge that the angels gave him. Any comments? Anything ring a bell? Nobody have any comments? Okay, so like I said, these are all this is what Enoch done. So that's one of the things they did. They took characteristics from the Lord of Hosts and put them on JC. They took characteristics from David, and they took a lot of it from Enoch. Like I said, Enoch is the one with the woes. Enoch the one that talking parables. Enoch was the son of man. So they took all that and put it on JC when they created him. And notice how over and over again in these woes, he kept telling you about, you're going to be in a bad place when it's found out that you worship an idol. And that's what JC is. But right now, he's a big ticket item. There's a lot of people going to be consumed because of that. Because these people, they pros at making idols. And when opportunity presented itself, they concocted him with the council nail seal. And a lot of people, like I said, got hell to pay when they finally come to the realization what's his origins and what they really dealing with. Okay. So with that being said, nobody have anything? No. We close out the Shabbat. See everybody on Tuesday.
Shalom.
Yeah. You got something?
I want to say that, like you said, that yes, sir. Like you said, they're using JC to give off all what's going on in the Old Testament. So the idol is JC that in the New Testament, being that it's not made of gold or wood. He presented himself as a lamb, saying he was sacrificed. So now they're worshiping him as a physical being.
Right.
He came on earth just like we did, born of a woman. So they also they're worshiping.
Yeah, so you have to go back. Go to the Catholic Church. Is he not decked in gold and made of stone?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
in the Catholic Church. That's when Constantine, and you got to remember the four beasts. We see the wound in the head. Rome was sacked, and then Constantine brought it back. Now it's the Holy Roman Empire. JC the one made it. Christianity made it the Holy Roman Empire, and Roman Empire, all the Catholic churches, all the places JC is made of stone. You got the stone idol out in front of the church. They got him up on the deck. Have you ever been to a Catholic church? One of those big ones?
Yes, sir. And also they showed Mother Mary.
Right. They got him in gold. They got him fashioned in gold. Stone, white stone, and gold and silver. They got him decked in all that. You go to all these Catholic churches, they got an image of him in stone. And like I said, he got gold on and all this. Yeah, so that's him. And so, like I said, when you understand it's an idol, and an idol can't talk, but they making them talk through everything that's written in red. So that's him that they're talking about in the New Testament when it says that the beast made an image and caused it to speak. That's it. He can't talk. He idol. He can't talk, but they got him talking.
Yes, sir.
Everybody going by his words, and it's just written in red in the Old Testament, in the New Testament. So they caused him to speak. But he can't speak because he just like all idols before him. He made out of wood and stone, and it comes from the imagination of a man's mind. Yeah, so he is wood and stone. And when you trace that back, like I said, I don't know if you did the research on Serapis. Go trace Serapis back. He was the same way. Serapis is Jesus. Jesus is Serapis. They had him decked in gold. in Egypt when they concocted. They just got a hold of records, then they gave him a new life, and they was able to take the characteristics from the Old Testament and our God and lay them on him, and from our scriptures. That's all he is. Okay. You got anything else? Anybody got anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. So, like I said, I'll see everybody Tuesday for our advanced Bible study at 8 o'clock. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.